All right, we're going now to City Hall, hearing a little bit more about the plan for Taylor Swift coming to town.
Our city is thrilled to host these events, and we are confident that everyone will walk away with incredible memories. We are ready to ensure the safety and fun go hand in hand, and we are excited to see the city come alive during these events. Thank you, and now I'll hand this over to Pat. Thank you.
Thanks, Deputy Chief Pogue. My name is Pat Tobin. I'm the General Manager of Economic Development and Culture. Thank you all for being here today for this important briefing. As mentioned, Toronto is thrilled to host 6 shows for the Eras Tour of Taylor Swift coming up in November. We are among the top cities worldwide in terms of numbers of concerts, with only London, UK hosting more. This confirms the fact that my colleagues have spoken to, that Toronto is not just a global destination for stars and major events, but that the city has a practiced track record in delivering major events safely and effectively. I'll also note that Taylor Swift will be the first ever artist to perform 6 concerts at the Rogers Centre within a single tour, which is notable in and of itself. Joanna mentioned, as did Deputy Chief Pogue, that there are other events that will be taking place in the city concurrent to the Eras Tour. And this will certainly be in evident our ability to manage multiple major events during a single period. For the Economic Development and Culture Division of the city, we have 3 goals going into this set of concerts. First is to support the efforts towards public safety and mobility through the provision of information and some ambassadors I'll speak to. Secondly, as noted by Deputy Mayor Malik, maximize the economic opportunity of this concert coming in, not just for the hard-hit hospitality, cultural, and tourism sectors, but also to benefit Toronto's artists. And finally, we do want to that last point, raise the profile of Toronto's artists while global eyes are on Toronto during this tour. Now getting into some of the numbers. As reported by Destination Toronto a week ago and carried in the media, we are anticipating fully up to 500,000 people, 500,000 people coming into Toronto from outside for the Eras Tour. This includes a significant majority of the concert goers, the ticket holders, who will be coming from outside our city, but also the many parents and guardians and travel partners who will be accompanying the concert goers. With that visitation, and as reported last week by Destination Toronto, the economic impact numbers are very, very impressive. So in terms of total impact on gross domestic product, we're anticipating $282 million. That is driven by $152 million in direct spending. And notably, again, we expect of that spending, fully 93% will be dollars brought into this market by visitors coming here to Toronto, which is very, very important. It's also important for Toronto in terms of the period in which these concerts are going to be held, which is traditionally a bit of a shoulder or quieter season for our hotels and the hospitality industry more broadly. So just to recap on the economic impact, 3 key points I'd like you to take away. 1, this is a lot of visitors at 500,000. 2, they're each projected to spend a lot of money. The evidence coming out of other cities that the per capita spending for concert goers is above $1,300. To put that into context, the per capita spend for delegates to our major former tech industry event Collision was $1,228. So Swifties spend a lot, and they're coming from outside. So it's new money into our economy. So we are going to ensure that through a variety of efforts that I'll touch on now, that Toronto will be having its best day during the concert. That's my first Taylor Swift song title reference, and the staff who wrote the script will be sure that there's more to come. I do want to note the collaborative effort that everyone speaking to you today has underlined. We're working really closely with partners at Destination Toronto, Rogers, the Rogers Centre, to ensure that all the information is available to visitors to know how they can get about the city, but also what they can see and do while they're here in Toronto, and to find their way around to other venues in the Rogers Centre while they're here, and therefore be able to develop the memories and enjoy the music and the magic of Toronto evermore. Among those efforts, Destination Toronto has launched a scavenger hunt, which will enable people to discover commercial opportunities and cultural offerings around the city and move as well some of the economic activity out of the central downtown core. We are also working closely with our business improvement area associations, most notably Queen West, who will be doing a marketing campaign to coincide with the concerts to support retail in their area. And the Downtown Young BIA is also working closely with Sankofa Square to deliver some activations around concert time. So ensuring a safe but also incredibly enjoyable event is our end game in these efforts. The city is also deploying, to ensure a good experience for visitors, its Visitor Information Ambassador program. So these are volunteers that the City of Toronto recruits and trains to support large events. And if you think of Nuit Blanche, which just occurred, we deploy hundreds of these people in to ensure that people can easily wayfind and any issues that may arise as people visit our city are dealt with in a very effective manner. So up to 350 such volunteers, that's about 60 to 70 per concert day, will be deployed through those areas where we anticipate the greatest amount of pedestrian traffic. That includes the Taylor Swift Way site, as well as here Nathan Phillips Square, David Pico Square to our south, and we will also deploy information trailers that we use for visitor services so people can learn about the tourism amenities in the City of Toronto. To enhance further the experience of visitors and enable this economic opportunity to reach artists and cultural organizations, we are developing a number of activations and events to raise the profile of our artists and hopefully make them better known to some of our visitors. One of these is actually Taylor Swift Way itself. It's the ceremonial route that will connect where you are now at Nathan Phillips Square with the Rogers Centre. We're very grateful to Deputy Mayor Jennifer McKelvey for her City Council motion to bring this idea to life and the opportunity it's developed to work in partnership with Rogers, the Rogers Centre, and the Daily Bread Food Bank to maximize the charitable giving opportunity that has been a feature of this tour. We'll have more details, in fact, about those charitable activities tomorrow, so keep your eye out for a media advisory to that effect. In addition, dealing more directly with some of our arts and culture activations, I'll speak briefly about what we're referring to as the TO Poets Department. So in the spirit of Taylor Swift's latest album, which is, of course, the Tortured Poets Department, we'll be launching the TO Poets Department. This will be a series of free, family-friendly poetry activations, which we're inviting the public to participate in during the concert dates. This includes listening to roaming pop-up poets along Taylor Swift Way. We will also have a city block poetry installation at Nathan Phillips Square, nearby Campbell House to the west of us, and David Pico Square. These large blocks will each have poetry generated from a different word from Taylor Swift's lyrics so that people can create their own poems. And then finally, we will also have street talk stencils, and this will feature 6 Toronto poets who will stencil the work along the sidewalks of Taylor Swift Way. Notably, these initiatives were developed by the city's phenomenal poet laureate, Lillian Allen, working with the city's new youth poet laureate, Shahada Jack. Again, we're very, very thrilled to be hosting Taylor Swift and welcoming hundreds of thousands of visitors to this city. I would invite you, if you'd like to learn more about the various activations that will take place, to please visit the Destination Toronto website, where all of this information is contained. And finally, in closing, I'd really like to thank the dedicated team at Economic Development and Culture, many of whom are here today, who have been working very hard with their colleagues to ensure that not only we get the safety right, the mobility right, that we maximize the economic opportunity in support of Toronto's artists and arts organizations. So thank you to them. And with that, I will now hand it back to Beth Waldman.
To me. I just want to briefly just thank you for the presentations. It's very nice to see that our conversation on the TO Poets Department has been able to yield this incredible activation and opportunity to showcase Toronto poets and artists and culture makers. And that is the spirit that has been running through all the preparations, is to make sure that Toronto is able to make the absolute most of this incredible opportunity. And so on behalf of myself and City Council, thank you so much to all of the city staff, to Toronto Police Service, TTC, and our many other partners for all of your hard work to bring these plans together so that fans can have a great time and shake it off at shows or at these other great events and activations taking place in Toronto at the same time. I also will give a special shout out to Destination Toronto as well for the work to pull together an incredible list of activities that are happening in the city over the next several weeks. We are so excited to be enchanted by Taylor Swift's Eras Tour, and we are ready for it. And we know all too well how important it is that Taylor and Swifties have a great experience in our city, that residents and those of us who call Toronto home have an incredible experience, while also making sure that we mitigate the impacts to all of us who are living, working, visiting, and traveling through our downtown. We want to make sure that everyone who is discovering Toronto for the first time returns, and we especially want to make sure that Taylor Swift and incredible artists like her see Toronto as a place to come back to again and again. I will now hand it back to Beth. Thank you very much.
So that is our presentation today to show that we are worthy of Toronto's reputation of welcoming the world. So we're open for questions. There's a microphone over there, and we're going to ask reporters to line up and ask their question, one follow-up. Please say your name and the name of your media outlet. But we also have some other partners here who can come up and answer questions should the need arise. We have the CEO of the TTC, Greg Percy. We have Carlton Grant, the Executive Director of Municipal Licensing and Standards. We have Ryan Duggan, the Director of Safety and Compliance with our Corporate Real Estate Management Division, which is also Union Station. We have Aviva Levy, the Associate Director at the Toronto Parking Authority. We have Laura Purdy, the General Manager of Exhibition Place. And we have Andrea Goldstein and Madeline Davidson from the communications team at Rogers Centre. For Rogers Centre, you can email them with your needs at media@rogerscentre.com. So now we will open up for your questions.
Hi, Rihanna Lim, Canadian Press. Question for Barbara. So last year, Beyonce came to Toronto, and that caused some gridlock, some traffic issues immediately following the show. What did the city learn from that experience, and how is it going to be different this time?
Thanks for the question. So in addition to, we are pretty agile and we try to learn from every experience in terms of, especially working with the Rogers Centre. We have a very close relationship with them. We share resources in terms of our traffic management centers and being able to really move on the fly. So part of it is having enough resources, sort of boots on the ground. We have our traffic agents, we'll have traffic control personnel, and then also understanding the timings of when people are going to be coming in and out and giving ourselves sufficient time to manage around that. We've also learned from a number of other cities, including Miami and Seattle and a number of others who were really helpful in early planning stages of sort of giving us an update on the flow of these events and what we can expect that was unusual or different from many other large events that they've managed. And then as we go through the concerts, you can be assured that this team, in addition to be able to pivot on the fly, will also be doing after actions so that we can get a little bit better each day.
Just a general security follow-up question. So I know you can't necessarily go into too many details about security planning, but can you provide some more insight about law enforcement collaboration? Are other law enforcement agencies taking part of this? Is Rogers hiring extra security?
Thank you so much for your question. I'll start by saying, we are ready. We are a world-class city, and we have the benefit of having incredible public safety experts who have been, extensively planning for these concerts and for all the competing events. And not only have you heard today how integrated we are with our partners, with the city, with Rogers Centre, and our other first responding partners as well, as transit and other areas of the city. But part of this planning has included connecting with other cities who have been part of the tour, certainly to learn from them. And what we've heard resoundingly is that everybody's had a wonderful time. The crowds, while they've been large, the crowds have been fantastic, and really everybody's just enjoyed the event. Thank you.
Another question. Oh, Thomas Dagg, CBC National News. Good afternoon. Another question for the Deputy Chief, specifically the ISIS-linked alleged mass murder plot in Vienna at the Eras Tour shows that were canceled in Vienna over the summer. Wondering how that has shaped any planning for you.
So, really with any event, large-scale event where there's a lot of people, our considerations are always around public safety. I mean, that is our priority as a policing organization. And certainly working with our intelligence partners as part of that. We are continuously monitoring any potential threats. There are no threats at this time, and we are adequately resourced and, again, well integrated with all of our partners to respond accordingly.
Thank you. And question for the Deputy Mayor. Don't mean this as a criticism, honest question. In your view, when you think about everything the city is doing from transit to policing to everything additional services the city is sort of putting in place for these concerts, can you think of anyone else in the world the city would do so much for other than Taylor Swift?
So what we've seen, especially through the work that the city staff, agencies, and corporations have done, is working closely and connecting with other jurisdictions that have hosted the Eras Tour over the last 2 years. And what we've seen is that with proper preparation, there is an opportunity to make sure that the amount of folks who are coming through the cities, the way that they're being hosted, can be done well, and the kind of disruption can be mitigated through good planning, as well as an opportunity to maximize the economic and the kind of community excitement around these concert dates. And that's been a big piece of the work, the integrated work that the city has been doing in coordination across agencies and corporations and with our partners. So the first thing I would say is that we don't book major acts in the city, but we do want to be a city that attracts them. And it is a huge credit to Toronto to be hosting 6 concerts of an artist of the caliber that Taylor Swift is. As you also heard, this is not our first time preparing to host and manage large-scale events, and we want to continue to strengthen that capability. And what the city is putting forward and the plans that have been presented is us taking that on responsibly so that everyone who is moving through the city, and especially the hundreds of thousands of people who will be here enjoying the concerts, 50,000 people coming through the Rogers Centre every night, have a safe experience, are able to enjoy it, that everyone in the city is well communicated with around what their options are, taking transit, TTC, road closures, and that most of all, that visitors to the city return again, and that Taylor Swift sees Toronto as a major city that can't be missed on her tours for the future, and that Taylor Swift returns again as well, and that this continues to open the door for us to attract even more major events and artists.
Right over here. Can't go to the mic right now. For the economic development person?
Pat Tobin.
The numbers you quoted in terms of the economic benefits, a lot of that will go to federal and provincial levels, the taxation. So what do you think will sort of trickle down effect to the city? How much are we looking at?
For the small C city of Toronto, for this local economy, this is an incredible event. 152 million direct spending, 282 in overall GDP. The revenues collected from taxes differ by order of government. And given the revenue tools available to it, the City of Toronto collects the lesser portion of that. The primary beneficiaries of sales tax principally, will accrue to the provincial and federal government.
Do you expect them to trickle down some of those funds to you?
Historically, on a case-by-case, concert-by-concert basis, there's not a framework for that, but they've been good partners, certainly in the promotion of this event, and there's integrated work among services. So.
Thanks.
Beatrice Baseman, CB24. The last time I can remember, I guess, an event of this size would be probably the Raptors parade, where you had people descending on this city to celebrate our team. Maybe Barbara, if you or the Deputy Mayor want to take this, what have we learned from the Raptors parade and just the volume of people who come down to the city on how to best manage that? What were the takeaways?
Well, I think again, as I mentioned earlier, is having a great plan, having an integrated plan, planning for every eventuality, having enough boots on the ground, and then having that relationship with the venue at the Rogers Centre to be able to share information and pivot quickly. I also think that it's really important to know that in our research with other cities, the Eras Tour has. It rolls out in cities a little bit differently than some of our other major events. And one of the things that's so remarkable about it is she has such a dedicated fan base, as I think everybody knows. But that group tends to come and they come to the city and they stay for a while. And as Pat said, they're very active and engaged in the local economy. And so that means that our planning has to expand a bit beyond the regular venue. And we have to be thinking about how we can support and encourage that fan base as they go to various venues. And so I think a lot of the offerings that have come through Destination Toronto and with the partnership at Economic Development and Culture will help to sort of spark that enthusiasm and keep that event going. But we have to then, you'll notice the perimeters is relatively significant, so we really need to plan for that and make sure that we can, again, have a safe experience for everyone.
Deputy Chief, obviously when you have that many people in an area also it can pose a challenge for first responders to move around and get to people quickly if they need your help. Can you talk about, and you touched on the fact there's no known threat, at least, to the City of Toronto with these concerts, but what kind of plans has Toronto Police put in place in terms of exit routes and entry points and staging areas within this zone, I guess, to make sure that you're there if people need you?
So again, encouraging everybody to take public transit so that we minimize the amount of vehicles that are in the area. And quite frankly, this is why I've encouraged people who are non-ticket holders to not come down to the area. There is no fan zone, and recognizing that the crowds will be large, we certainly want to minimize the amount of people that are there, and encouraging when the concert is over for people to disperse quickly, make their way out of the area, so that if we do have to respond to any sort of emergency, certainly that'll make it easier for us.
Any other questions? All right, with that, I want to, sorry, is there a question?
Forgive me, I just got a question
ahead.
from my colleagues over
Sure.
at CTV News. I don't know if we have these numbers yet. Do we know at this point how much the traffic and policing measures will cost? And is that coming out of the City of Toronto's budgeting?
We do not have cost estimates available at this point in time, and we don't anticipate having them for safety and security reasons ahead of the concert.
Deputy Mayor Malik, how do you feel, I guess, about hotel fees and the rates just rising exponentially to the people coming to the city? A hotel room, for example, that would typically cost $250 is now costing people $2,000 to come visit.
Well, we know, and as was mentioned, this is a really important event and set of concerts, and our preparation is about, the impact to the visitor economy and the potential positive benefits and making sure that everyone has a really great experience. We know when there's major events in the city, as we get closer to it, as folks are kind of making sure that they get their plans in place, as last-minute tickets are being sold as well, that the pressures on the available accommodations and all the other things that you need when you're visiting a city will go up. We've been in regular touch with the visitor economy, with the hotels and folks who are providing accommodations in the city. And the part of it is making sure that we're keeping a close eye on that, and also knowing that this is something that happens when major events are coming to the city, that there will be a rise in the cost of things like hotel rooms, and what we can do as a city to make sure that options around transit and transportation, around the other great amenities in the city are also widely available and accessible to folks.
Great. You have one more?
I've got a question from
Okay.
TTC. Maybe if someone from...
Go ahead, great.
Obviously, during rush hour on a good day, we struggle with people packing into sardines on buses, streetcars, subway cars. Can you talk about some of the, and I know you released your plan earlier this week, just talk about some of the plans and extra staffing levels, extra vehicles that you're putting on the road to get people around over the course of those 9 days?
Sure, and the answer is all of the above for sure. And so we've been planning, as everybody here has, for a long time. This is the pivot of, this is the big thing that we've all been working for, so it's exciting. So we've done looks at routes, and we've rerouted, and we've added service, and we've added equipment. We've got people on standby. And for all the good plans that you have in place, you have like 10 times more contingency plans. We too will be pivoting the night of. We will staff up every night of the concert so we can move quickly to accommodate. So we've done all that stuff, and we have every confidence, as everybody here has. They worked so hard to get to here, is we'll be ready, and we'll put on as much service as we need, and we're ready to go. So this, I think the one word we all have to remember is it's supposed to be fun too. So let's not forget that, and hard work will create good fun. So there's a lot of people here paying a lot of money to enjoy the moment. So, but the key word there is to have fun as well. So we want everyone to have fun. We want everyone to be safe, and we'll do our bit as everyone will. Thanks.
So, never in our wildest dreams did we think we'd be hosting 6 concerts of the Eras Tour, and we're thrilled that Taylor Swift has chosen Toronto for those concerts. Continue to check city social channels, our website, as well as all of our partner social channels and websites for the latest updates. And we are committed to keeping Torontonians and visitors safe and sound, and welcome hundreds of thousands of people to our city. So thanks everyone for being here today, and have a good one. Bye.
And we've been listening in from City Hall what the plan is for when Taylor Swift comes to town, and thousands of people are here for her shows.